Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the second episode, the second weekly episode of my show, coming to you live from the beautiful Green Mountains of Vermont. Tonight I'll be playing and singing a variety of tunes, some of which are iconic hits from the day, and others of which I wrote myself, which are not iconic hits, at least not in this universe. In some parallel world in the multiverse, though, I'm quite certain that my tunes are all over the radio. Many songs tell a story, and every song has a story connected with it. The one that I just played was, of course, I Left My Heart in San Francisco. It was a big hit for Tony Bennett in 1962. The tune was actually written by a pair of amateur songwriters, and as was typical at the time, one guy wrote the music, the other guy wrote the words. The pair of amateur songwriters were actually from New York. They were living in San Francisco, and they were missing their hometown. They didn't realize at the time that they were crafting an all-time hit song, which would go on to be adopted by the city of San Francisco as its official anthem, and win various other awards and honors. There are alleged to be over 200 instrumental and vocal versions of this tune, including, I kid you not, one by Frank Zappa. I haven't heard it. You first, let me know what you think. Who also didn't realize that this was a huge hit in the making were the folks at the record company who released the song. In those days, singles were in the form of 45 RPM records, and they had an A-side and a B-side. The song that was expected to sell was put on the A-side, and they pretty much put any old slop on the B-side, which was considered just filler. However, it was in that spirit that the genius whose responsibility it was to make these decisions assumed that the ditty by the two unknown amateur songwriters was the B-side material, as the A-side came from a Broadway musical which had been produced by the same people that did Bye Bye Birdie, which was a mega hit in its day and is actually still being performed today. This show, however, bombed, and it closed after just a few weeks, and so the A-side song on the record was roundly ignored, and the disc jockeys at the radio stations began to flip the record over and play the B-side, and the rest, as they say, is history. This next tune I learned when I was quite small. The guy whose record I learned it from was a piano genius who is said to have had the only #1 piano instrumental in history. In the history of the Billboard Top 100, there have only been a couple of dozen instrumentals to hit #1, and this was the only piano tune. The guy, who had a strange foreign name and was given a more familiar sounding name by his agent, was named after the 17th century founder of Rhode Island, Roger Williams. Now, listening to a Roger Williams album as a little kid was a fascinating and frustrating experience. Roger could do this thing which I couldn't even imagine how anybody could do. He played this massive run from the top keys all the way down in parallel thirds. It sounded like a bunch of people yodeling, like a waterfall, an avalanche, like a bunch of falling leaves. The poor man's version would be he'd start up here and go, well, Roger had this real don't have anything to prove style of playing. He recorded with a full orchestra, and the arrangements were what they used to call lush. And since he was capable of doing the fancy, impressive stuff, and everyone knew that he could do the fancy, impressive stuff, he used this technique at the beginning of each song of playing the melody way down low on the piano as if the notes were being sung by a strong baritone. Slow, expressive, the whole orchestra swelling behind him, he'd play. And then wham, that massive waterfall of notes. Then back to the single notes and then the waterfall again. I thought to myself, what a gig. Give him just a taste of the virtuoso stuff, and then you can just cruise along, picking out the melody in single notes. Meanwhile, the orchestra is sawing away, keeping up a kind of wall of sound going, and everyone is happy, smiling, and gladly handing over their cash for Roger Williams records. I couldn't help but think about my brother Paul, a couple of years older than myself, who took piano lessons first, not because he wanted to, but because our parents insisted. He hated it, he complained constantly, and eventually he was allowed to drop the lessons. Years later, though, he demonstrated this amazing ability to play from memory the basic melodies of various popular tunes with his right index finger, the only one of the 10 that was involved. So Roger Williams has the orchestra going and goes, and Paul kind of did the same thing, only without the orchestra. Well, I couldn't hope to play that crazy run. So I just learned the melody and the chords and played it in my own rudimentary way. Over the years, I would hear other pianists' version of Autumn Leaves, and it seemed like each one would try to out-Roger Roger with the waterfall of notes. I never did figure out how to do that, but that's not even in the tune as written in 1945 by the Hungarian-French composer Joseph Kozma, so I will tastefully leave it out. The lyricist who wrote the original words in French titled the song "The Dead Leaves." The French are kind of blunt that way. Whoever renamed it Autumn Leaves for the English-speaking audience definitely had the right idea. from Leaves. And now we're going to take a brief break and come back into the keyboard studio for some more music. See you in just a moment. Okay, here we are. We're back. Did somebody say reggae? I distinctly heard somebody say reggae.
Reggae!
Yeah, I heard it. Here's everybody's favorite reggae tune, Bob Marley's first big hit, and a song that introduced many people to reggae music. This is from 1973, Stir It Up.
Stir it up, little darling, stir it up. Come on and stir it up, little darling, stir it up. Been a long, long time since I got you on my mind. Now you are here, it's so clear to see what we can do, just me and you. Come on and stir it up, little darling, stir it up. Come on and stir it up, little darling, stir it up. I'll push the wood, blaze the fire, then I'll satisfy your heart's desire. Gonna stir the pot every minute. All you got to do is keep me in it. Come on and stir it up, little darling, stir it up. Come on and stir it up, little darling, stir it up. Will you quench me when I'm thirsty? Will you cool me down when I'm hot? Your recipe, darling, it is so tasty, and you sure know how to stir the pot. Come on and stir it up, little darling, stir it up. Come on and stir it up, little darling, stir it up. Stir it up, little
If you listen to reggae music, you'll know that the lyrics to Stir It Up are not actually at all typical. The words are light and fluffy, full of cheerfully and thinly disguised references to love and sex. You sure know how to stir the pot. Indeed. Most reggae songs, however, and most of Bob Marley's repertoire have lyrics that are far more serious, reflecting themes of social justice and spirituality. In the Bible, the kingdom of Babylon was an evil, wicked place. Its soldiers sacked the holy city of Jerusalem and took the people slaves. For a few decades, Babylon reigned supreme, but then fell when someone else, namely the Persians, decided to make Babylon part of their empire. The Babylonians had burned down the gates and walls of Jerusalem, and now the Persians came and burned their shit down. Typical. In the Bible, there's a psalm that goes, "By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, yea, we wept, when we remembered Zion. They carried us away in captivity, requiring of us a song. Now how shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land?" Apparently their captors, not content with simply stealing away their lives, also insisted that they sing and play musical instruments for the amusement of their oppressors. So Babylon, to the Jamaican artists who invented the genre that came to be called reggae, represents the social, political, and economic systems that began with the wicked institution of slavery, were made to thrive by the stolen labor of the enslaved people, and which continue to oppress, or in the words of Peter Tosh, downpress people to this very day. In 1970, Brent Dow and Trevor McNaughton of the Jamaican singing group The Melodians wrote and recorded Rivers of Babylon, one of the original and seminal reggae hits. The Jamaican government immediately banned the song from the airwaves, regarding it as subversive. Did the big shots running the government regard themselves as part of Babylon? Well, if the shoe fits. There was a huge public outcry, and some of the nation's ministers and pastors ridiculed the officials for banning a song whose lyrics came primarily from the Bible. The ban was lifted, and the song shot to the top of the charts within a few weeks. So, this next tune, which I wrote shortly after I started listening to reggae music, came about in a time when certain changes in our society and systems were occurring, changes that were not to the good. Industrial jobs were disappearing overseas. People were becoming more aware of the ongoing environmental challenges like the poisoning of the rivers, the loss of agricultural land to erosion and other forms of environmental degradation, not to mention financial big shots buying up farmland and building condos on it. And on the farmland that is left, the food is grown with increasing reliance on toxic chemicals which end up in the environment and eventually our bodies. And while all this is happening, many in government and politics are hailing the new information age. It's like, as long as we have our corporate computers and reams of information, we will prosper. We don't need to make anything, we don't need to grow anything, just process the information and reap the profits. What could possibly go wrong? Now, the Babylon system, as Bob Marley would put it, can be regarded as the entire militarized, industrialized, corporatized world of oppression and pollution, which, if we don't do something to reverse certain trends, must necessarily collapse of its own weight. This is what they refer to as Babylon burning. All this kept rattling around in my brain until I decided to make a song about it. It's called Babylon Man, and it's dedicated to demagogues, oppressors, polluters, bullies, and the toxic shitheads who just don't care. Everywhere.
Babylon is high on information. Reeling drunk on paper profits, getting in on the corruption, wink an eye at the down pressure. Farmer leaving for the city, ruined by the banking system. His land is falling to erosion. What do you think is gonna happen to you, Babylon man, to you? Babylon man. Your father's father was a pirate, and his brother stole the land. Each was strong in his own way now, but you grow too weak to stand. You think you own the information, while others slave at the production. But soon your food may not become, 'cause you neglect the situation, don't you, Babylon man, you do. And in your own veins runs the poison you made to feed your need for power. And now your seed is weak and twisted, and you are dwindling by the hour. The Babylon man must lose. Said the Babylon man must lose. His place in Jason, no more shadow on everyone, burning Babylon blues. Said the Babylon man must lose. Said the Babylon man must lose. The Babylon man must lose.
Well, that was cheerful. Here's another song I wrote a while back that's a bit more upbeat. I think the idea came from the movie Spinal Tap, where there was a band that had an amplifier that you could turn up to 11, even louder yet than the normal top volume of 10 that anyone had ever previously heard of. So I had the thought that maybe human beings should come equipped with a knob that turns up a person's capacity to love, which is something that's often in too short supply. And it should go way up past 10 because you really can't have too much of that. Well, this song is called Turn Your Love Up.
Turn your love up, turn it up to high, so high, high, high. You can never, never, never turn it up too high. We need your love up, need it up, turn it up to high, so high, high, high. You can never, never, never turn it up too high. We need some love in here today. What I hear most people say, but it's so hard to know about people anymore. We need to see a show of hands, yeah, hands, just to know where we stand. Is it for love and life and peace, or do you get off on hate and death and war? It's just a question. Turn your love up, turn it up to high, so high, high, high. You can never, never, never turn it up too high. We need your love up, you need it up, turn it up to high, so high, high, high. You can never, never, never turn it up too high. When you're lost and feeling lonely, like you have nowhere to go, and you've forgotten you're never really alone. Alone. There's a light that lives inside you that they never told you about. And it does not cost a dime to let it out. Just let it out. We need your love. You need your love up. We need your love. Love, love, love. You need your love up. Love, 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 love. Got to have it, got to turn it, turn your love up, turn
Turn your love up. Okay. We're going to take another short break and then going to head over to the piano lounge and play some blues. See you in just a moment. The St. Louis Blues, written by a fella named W.C. Handy, was first published in 1914. That's like 110 years ago. It became a big hit in 1925, sung by Bessie Smith and backed by Louis Armstrong and his band. W.C. Handy is sometimes mistakenly called the father of the blues. What he was the first guy who actually took some blues music and made a commercial hit out of it. And he did introduce the blues to a much wider audience. This song has been covered countless times, still being played today. This is the St. Louis Blues. This next song, it's a tune from way back. I'm not sure exactly where it comes from. The title and the lyrics contain a word that does not exist in the English language. It's called All My Geets Are Gone. Now, nobody knows exactly what geets are. If you look up geets in the dictionary, you won't find it. Not in the dictionary. No one knows what they are, but you do get the impression from the lyrics that your geets being gone is not the greatest thing. That song goes like this. I'll be needing my microphone if I'm going to sing. Now listen, old man, can you loan me a deuce? I wanna drown my sorrows in a pint of juice, 'cause all my geets are gone. All my geets are gone. I ain't jiving. All my geets are gone. Now don't slam that door. My head's a little tight. I spent all my money getting drunk last night. Now all my geets are gone. All my geets are gone. I ain't jiving. All my geets are gone. I'm going back to the country. City life is a drag. I spent all my money on some no good hag. Now all my geets are gone. All my geets are gone. I ain't jiving. All my geets are gone. Now it's a doggone shame when you got a little dough. You meet all your friends every place you go. But when you're broke and you want a little taste, can't find no friend of yours anyplace, 'cause all your geets are gone. All my geets are gone. I ain't jiving. All my geets are gone. Listen, old man, can you loan me a deuce? I wanna drown my sorrows in a pint of juice, 'cause all my geets are gone. All my geets are gone. I ain't jiving. All my geets are gone. Okay, we're going to take one more little short break. Got time for another song or two. I'll see you back at the keyboard studio. Okay. Yep, I did it again. We're back again. Here we go. Time for one more song. This is another one of mine, and it's about climate change. Well, what can one say? What hasn't already been said? The planet is going to hell in a handbasket, and one of the reasons nothing really truly effective is being done is because of the legion of people who are in total denial. From poorly educated citizens to captains of industry to the world's so-called leaders, the level of pure head-in-the-sand refusal to look at the obvious is absolutely staggering. Now, I had a dream. It's back in the day when tsunamis were called tidal waves. And the big news of the day is that a gigantic one is coming and is predicted to totally engulf the lovely little town in which I reside, causing endless destruction and loss of life. I look at the sky, and there is an enormous dark blue ocean wave, high up in the sky, but not as high as the clouds. It's beginning to curl and looks big enough to drown the whole city, but it appears to be motionless as if it had been painted up there. A closer examination, however, reveals that it is in fact moving, but in extreme slow motion. In the dream, I'm in a downtown area of pleasant tree-lined streets and colorful shops. Crowds of people, dressed for holiday and looking like they're having a great time, are walking to and fro, talking and laughing, gaily swinging down the street with their shopping bags. Not a single person looks at the sky, nor betrays the slightest awareness of the looming horror above. I look at the happy throngs, I look back up at the sky, I look back at the people again, and I think, this is unreal. How can this be happening? Why is nobody reacting? It's like a dream. Well, I woke up and I wrote the words to this song, putting them to a melody that had been, for some time, percolating in my brain. It's not exactly a happy song, but this is a difficult subject to write a cheerful, optimistic ditty about. Everything's gonna be all right. It's already been used countless times, and maybe is not quite appropriate for the present moment. The opening lines to the song are respectfully borrowed from Chief Seattle, who said, "The earth does not belong to us. We belong to the earth." So in this song, which is called See the Sign, I've put in my 2 cents, but never mind what I have to say. Gaia is speaking. Is anybody listening?
You say that I belong to you, but you belong to me. Each and every one of you. I was here a long time, I will be here when you're long gone. In all these ages, never seen the light of you, who never have the time to hear me crying to you, yeah, you. Most people see something happening, some fools they say that it's not. Most folks accepting the truth now, fools say, well, what have they got? Wise words are warning of danger, fools say these words are poison. But the weather's getting stranger, and I see the waters rising. See the sign, don't look away. We can't leave for some other day. See the sign, just take a look. Do not heed them, might as well a goose be cook. Polarized cap is a melting. Hey, what do you think about that? You could say such things don't concern you, but you'd be talking through your hat. What will we do when the coastline just isn't there no more, and the little house on the hillside become a cottage on the seashore? See the sign, don't look away. We can leave it for some other day. See the sign, just take a look. Do not heed them, might as well a goose be cook. See the sign, don't look away. We can't wait for even one more day. See the sign, just take a look. Do not heed them, who'll be left to write the book.
Well, I think that's it for this evening. That's the show for tonight. If you missed anything or want to see it again, it will be rebroadcast endlessly on this channel. Give us a like, subscribe, make a short take using my music and help me go viral on TikTok or something like that. If you subscribe, it helps the algorithm help me to become more visible. Your comments are always welcome. If you want to hear me perform a certain tune, put in a suggestion, and I just might take you up on it. When I do, I'll dedicate the song to you like they used to do on the Top 40 radio shows. Until next week, same time, same station. Different songs, different stories, different shirt. It's been real. Thank you very much, and good night.